Okay, so in this video, we're going to look at a case study using the golfer archetype that we developed earlier in this module. And the purpose of this video really is to show an in the trenches approach to generating product ideas, what that looks like on paper, how I thought about it, and then kind of whitelisting some ideas that we're going to take to the stage 1 filter, which we'll get to later in the product roadmap. So this is really about 6+ hours of work. Again, I'm a golfer, so I was a bit of an archetype. It helped me better understand the customer, how to think about ideas, how to think about their journey. And it took me 6 solid hours of work. If you're not from that particular archetype, it's going to take you a lot longer because you're probably going to have to interview people or at least look at where those people congregate and study them to better understand them. So that's going to take some more time. Or if this is just an activity that you haven't really done this before, maybe you've just used some Helium-10 stuff, or you just had an idea for a product and threw it up, and now you're looking to better develop your brand. You may not have used this structure before. It could take you days upon days spread out over weeks. I definitely would say to save your horsepower, so you're very thoughtful about this. So even though it took me 6+ hours, I kind of did it in digestible chunks. So you may want to start with one research method, generate ideas, come back to it the next day, use another research method, generate ideas, etc. You definitely want to have a fresh lens for making the right decisions and thinking clearly here, because again, this is probably one of the most critical things that you can do when building a physical products brand and finding success on Amazon. So this spreadsheet, which you'll have access to in the course to develop your own, really just looks at tab by tab all the different methods used to generate ideas and then what those ideas were. It turns out there's over 80 of them that came through this exercise, so you can get a whack load of ideas using these approaches. And then I just highlighted in yellow some of the ones that I thought were potentially intriguing based on some surface level analysis I did, as well as just thinking you're going to get creative ideas as you start to see these things come out, and you might already have some initial differentiation ideas. So you really just want to highlight here the ones that are worthy of additional investigation in terms of the mathematics and in terms of the Amazon assessment. So let's just kind of go through this really quickly, tab by tab, to see how we put together this product ideas kind of portfolio of stuff here. And this first one, again, was just the customer journey. This is me understanding the customer archetype, starting from a beginner golfer, moving all the way through to a kind of a true expert level weekend warrior, which is very similar to our customer archetype, and thinking through all of the things that I could brainstorm that they purchase along that journey. Again, that could be years upon years that they kind of cultivate different products. And these were the ones that I kind of came up with here. So let's just kind of get a numeric assessment. So there's 22 ideas that I came up with just off the top of my head. And really what I'm doing here is I'm just listing the product, which can be fairly generic. And there might be even subsets underneath those, but just kind of a generic idea. The stage that the customer is in that's purchasing this. So in this case, it's either beginner through expert, or if it's a little bit more sophisticated or for a more kind of advanced user in this niche, I've got intermediate through expert. The purchase motivation, so thinking through, again, a customer lens, right? Being empathetic with a customer. What is the reason that they're likely buying this particular product? Looking at the typical price, it's fair to look at Amazon here and just kind of get a ballpark idea what the prices may be on Amazon. Understanding what the purchase frequency is. Sometimes people buy stuff all the time. Sometimes it's a one-time purchase. Sometimes it's every couple of years. It's important to think through this just in terms of understanding what the cycle is and what you can kind of expect in terms of customer behavior in terms of purchasing that particular product. And then I've just got some scratch notes. Some of those are links in later tabs to actual products that we found through other sources. Sometimes this is just differentiation concepts that I've kind of come up with that I'll kind of flag here. And again, I've highlighted the ones in yellow that I think are in my head as hey, this could be something. So I'm kind of doing that after each exercise just to get some additional ideas that I want to kind of dig into further. So that's the customer journey ones. The external signals. Let's just look at here. We have 23 ideas and a lot of really interesting stuff that I hadn't even thought of before. I think that's the power of these external signals. So basically I looked at Pinterest, Etsy, Google Trends, Instagram, TikTok, and AdSpy in this case, and just generated a bunch of ideas from that. And again, I highlighted the ones that I thought were pretty interesting and compelling of further evaluation. The retail one here was just kind of one idea. My wife recently bought a push cart, like a manual push cart, and we were in, I think it was a Golf Galaxy here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I saw like an electronic one that kind of fits underneath existing carts. I thought that was super cool. And so I found that through the Golf Galaxy site. So that was the one idea we came up with brick and mortar. The Amazon research tools, which again, I kind of look at this as the Amazon A to Z. So literally typing in golf A, golf B, all the way through the alphabet. And man, it's like crazy how many interesting things I didn't know that were actually for sale on Amazon came out of that. That took quite a bit of time. I think that one probably took close to 90 minutes to conduct. But you can see here through all of the different kind of Amazon things that exist, there was, it's going to be 34 ideas through that. So we did Amazon A to Z here, and you can see all the ideas we came up with, the frequently bought together, looking at competitor storefronts as well. So whackload of ideas, again, highlighted in yellow are the ones that I thought were interesting for further evaluation. Helium 10 came up with a handful as well. Again, not using the standard approach that everybody and their mom uses in terms of the Helium 10 product research methods that have been around for a long time with software. This is really looking at those keyword and niche specific dive downs, as well as isolating specific revenue and or price points or size tiers to get a little bit more of a unique kind of spit out from that data output. And through that, we basically came up with, it looks like 8 product ideas here, 2 of which were potentially pretty interesting in terms of future evaluation. And then finally, the niche down one just had a handful, none that really kind of got my blood going, but we generated 4 ideas from that. So through all of these different kind of approaches, again, this takes days and weeks to do. So don't underestimate the amount of time that this takes. Be thoughtful about it. Also, be patient about it. This is a step in the process that is so important, in addition to kind of understanding your customer archetype, that is going to save you a ton of time down the line and a ton of money down the line if you do this effectively. So we generated 80 ideas through this, and this is a case study using that golf archetype. As we get into additional videos in this module, we're going to talk through how we whittle these down, how we look at them mathematically, how we look at them qualitatively, so we can start to hone in on an idea that we want to pursue that aligns with our budget and aligns with our risk level.